Bahinabai Chaudhary North Maharashtra University are working to develop newer technologies and go for incubating the startups. Well, today in this journey, we have our renowned speaker, Dr. Shyam Masakpalli, who is a professor from IIT Mandi and is a renowned scientist. And let me brief it that he has done his PhD from one of the most prestigious institutions, that is Oxford University in UK. So I welcome Dr. Shyam. Am I audible to you?
Yes, Professor Bhushan.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So I take this opportunity to welcome you. Then my colleagues, some of my colleagues and some of the teachers from various colleges, affiliated colleges are also present over here. And my dear students, I welcome you all for this session on innovations and startup. This is very important topic nowadays because people are going for innovations and startup because it is playing a major role in shaping the economy of the country. And this is one of the major emphasis of all the governments across the world nowadays. Well, in this tune, long back we had submitted one proposal to National Research Development Corporation, New Delhi, to set up an innovation facilitation center. And ours is the 8th innovation facilitation center across India, which was sanctioned by this National Research Development Corporation, New Delhi. So we are thankful to NRDC for their kind support for this activity. Well, several students are pursuing for PhD in various universities. And Dr. Shyam, I would like to bring it to your notice that in our university also, there are more than maybe 1,600 students who have registered for PhD in the recent examinations and so. Many students are doing basic research work. However, new technologies which are being developed are not to the extent desired. Hence, IFC or Innovation Facilitation Center is playing a pivotal role to facilitate the innovations in our region. I'm sure that Dr. Shyam's talk will guide the students as well as the teachers to go forward towards innovation and further how to metamorphose these innovations into startup. Of course, we have started our incubation center KCIL, KBCNMU Center for Innovation, Incubation and Linkages, to incubate these startups. And I am happy to bring it to the notice of the August participants that at this moment we have 17 startups registered in our incubation center, and we have our Manvin Chadha, who is working as a Chief Executive Officer, and Mr. Nikhil Kulkarni as a manager for this incubation center. So with this brief preface, I would hand over session to Mr. Manvin to introduce Dr. Shyam Masakpalli, IIT Mandi, and then start the session. So thank you, Manvin, and thank you, Dr. Shyam.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for giving the brief introduction. So let me just introduce today's speaker. So today we have with us Dr. Shyam Masakpalli, who is Associate Professor in School of Basic Sciences, IIT Mandi, Himachal Pradesh. His research interest includes biological system, metabolism of plants, and cellular bioprocessing. So basically, he's totally into biotech and agro region. And as already Bhushan sir mentioned, he is PhD from University of Oxford and MTech from IIT Kharagpur. And he has total of a decade of experience in research and 2 decades of experience in the area of education. He is also associated with IIT Mandi Catalyst, which is the incubation center in IIT Mandi. And he is one of the proactive faculty who is supporting startups in all their technology development, as well as how to get them into the commercialization stage. So with this few words, I think there is a lot of other things to tell about Shyam sir, but because of lack of time, now I request Dr. Shyam to kindly take over and start his session. Please, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Manvin, for introducing, as well as I would like to thank Professor Bhushan, as well as IFC and KCIAL. In fact, it's a pleasant. I'm really pleased to know about the incubation center as well as several startups already who are incubated there. I think that is the way forward to in the Indian context. In fact, this is one of the need of the hour, and if it is one of the eight centers which has been approved, I really congratulate all of you to take it forward. Congratulations! Yeah, I think that's a huge achievement. And now coming to to the title, actually, it's a bit of a misnomer in the sense that I'm an academic scientist. You can say more into teaching as a profession, teaching and research. I have my own PhD scholars, and we ask some very interesting scientific questions. But at the same time, I realized after I joined IIT Mandi, once IIT Mandi Catalyst or incubation center has started about 4 or 5 years ago, I realized that my not expertise but basic understanding of some scientific methodologies would help some of the startups. So that is how I started engaging with the startups. So I will share my PowerPoint. It came to my notice that some faculty are also joining here. Yeah. I would like to first of all say that I'm not an expert in business, innovation, or startups. I'm just going to share my own experiences. It may help some, or it might not. I'm not sure, but I'll try my best to engage the scholars as well as others who are there. Can you see my PowerPoint?
Yeah.
Okay, so in order to reduce the misnomer a bit, what I do is, rather than saying the title to be innovation and startups, which in fact everything is innovation, and it can lead to some business opportunities, and we can call them as startups. But what I will try my best to do today is to bring out some to cover two major areas. One is smart agriculture, which is one of the needs of the hour in the Indian context, in fact, in the global context, because food is really an essential part of the global security, food security. And second is the bioengineering. So I will touch upon some aspects of those, and will gradually share my experiences. So first of all, I'll take at least 3 or 4 slides to speak about my experiences, so that anyone who wanted to reach out to me in the future can really leverage what my expertises are, and then accordingly we can interact. Followed by that, I pick up one case study, which is conversion of some waste to value using bioengineering methods, where we are actually very strongly collaborating as well as mentoring some scholars from both engineering and bio side. So we felt like there is a need for crosstalk. So I will present one company which we are mentoring and advising, just a startup company called as Indi H2O, India Water. So that is for case study 1. And then I will then take over to explain the smart agriculture for future India. I put up a question mark: innovate. Do we really need to innovate, or can we contribute towards smart agriculture for future India? So that will be my case study 2, which I hope will be very relevant to the place where your institute and a lot of scholars in and around are really located. I'll touch upon the need at that time. Now, coming to my experiences and where I come from, here is the picture of IIT Mandi campus. You can see the South campus as well as the North campus. So you see it's a beautiful place, nestled in the Himalayan, mid-Himalayan region mountains. Currently, some of those peaks are snow-filled, but what came to my notice is it's very rich in plant diversity, and one has to really create knowledge or conserve. But at the same time, what is realized is that the people in and around the villages, they have several challenges. So I think the problem is the first statement from where the innovation starts. If we identify the problem, what the people are facing, and if we can try to solve it, I think we are innovating already. So that is my definition of innovation. Innovation starts from a problem. Okay, so what kind of innovation are we doing in that regard? So if I ask that question, I've been focusing on Himalayan specific agro technologies for local farmers. Now, if I solve a problem in my location, I believe that the problem can be solved in other locations as well. So for example, if I solve in this mid-Himalayan region in the Himachal, it would be adaptable to even Nepal or even Uttarakhand. You know, the Himalayan belt has got at least 9 to 10 countries who could get benefited out of this kind of research. Now, what we have done is we established a very simple model called as Farmer Academia Industry NGO Network. And we engaged with several farmers who have got very small land holdings. And we are trying to provide them the market linkages because we have the links to the industry. We can easily reach out to them. We can bring them on board. You can see that in the context, we started reaching out to various industries like Himalaya Drug Company. Now it is renamed as Himalaya Wellness Company, Nature Biotech Products, Tapsu Foods. And then the farmers are an important component of this particular model or the network because they are the stakeholders. So we created at least 3 farmer producing companies and then engaged with academia and NGO. NGO has been providing the support and academia is providing them the technical knowledge as well as the scientific inputs. That is what my lab has been doing. So as an example, you can see some of the products which we innovated in this particular region are whether it is infusion technology, because a lot of herbs are available here which can be taken as healthy drinks as infusions. That is one which led to one farmer producing organization. Similarly, there are some high altitude medicinal plants which are used even in some of our health tonics. Unknowingly, you people are consuming. We are consuming some of the phytochemical extracts from the Himalayan region. They are there in several medicines. And so we promote them because the farmers' problem which they're facing was monkey menace. So we thought like we needed to go, advise them to grow such crops where which monkeys won't like. And also they depend on the rain fed. So the rain fed should be sufficient and supportive to that crop. So we do a lot of training, mobilization, and also provide the farmer linkage. And also there are essential oil units which were installed for the farmer benefit, and eventually they are leveraging. And currently we reached out to at least 100 farmers, and now it can only grow up because we did the capacity building over and tested over the years. And you can see in the picture also some walnuts which are now commercialized. In fact, earlier they used to directly sell in the market. Now they can go via their own farmer producer company and they can make some profit. Now, regarding the quality, that is where the scientific inputs comes from my lab. So what kind of research I do in the scientific, when I say scientific inputs? I study on mainly plants and microbes. Both are required for our food security. One, plants are undergoing so many stress. I'll touch upon one crop which is relevant to Jalgaon. I think that is called as the banana capital or banana city of India. And so definitely I will touch upon some aspect of that because I see a lot of innovation can be done in that particular area as well. Now, in relation to microbes, I look into pathogens which infect these crops. Our food security is one of the important factors. So we wanted to control the pathogens. Similarly, there are these microbes like bacteria, several bacteria, rhizobium and so on, which can also help in providing as fertilizers to the crop. I mean, you throw it and they will fix nitrogen in the root as nodules and so on. So definitely, this as biofertilizers, this can play a significant role. Apart from that, these all are high-end research. If anybody is interested, I would just like to tell them that I look into the system, understand its metabolism so that we can better control them or increase the food. But one important project which I'll touch upon is called as a farmer zone, which is the future of agriculture, where not only agriculture, plant scientists play a role. In fact, computer scientists, machine learning guys, engineering, where they have to develop tools, nanotechnology guys where they can come out with some sensing devices. Everybody has an important role to play when it comes to the future of agriculture. Anybody want to ask anything? Okay. So apart from that, we do the waste to value, which I'm going to touch in a minute, how we convert some of the waste water into high-ten. And from the phytochemicals or from the Himalayan, we're looking for some potential drug candidates against various diseases. So these all are funded projects. Some of the facilities which I established over the last 5 years in my own lab You can see some bioreactors, botanical garden, this Hythen producer prototype, which has resulted in the Indi H2O startup, an app for the farmers, indoor cultivation. I think these are some of the experiences which I'm going to share. But given that there are some faculty who are also attending this particular lecture, I would like to just share my own engagement with the startups in the past, and also would like to say highlight what important role we all can play as faculty, and how we can support the ecosystem, the startup ecosystems in each of our institutes. So I acted as a technical mentor for IIT Mandi Catalyst, mainly the agri and biotech startups, which are listed below. These are some of the startups which are supported. These are directly supported, but there are several others which indirectly support as well. We evaluate applications whenever they pitch in. We also listen to them, evaluate, give them the feedback, sometimes advise them. I'm getting some noise disturbance. Can you please mute anyone? Yeah. If you look into some of the startups, they are related to either say herbal tea, crop defender like pesticide formulation, mushroom tablet. Someone a startup wanted to come out with a medicinal mushroom based tablet, which will actually use can reduce the biofilms in the dental. So it can be used, just you can chew it and it will solve a problem of less dental caries. Cool Crop as a service. In fact, Cool Crop took a letter of support from me, and eventually they got shortlisted from data.org. Base, I think from Switzerland, they got at least 12 teams got at least $10 million, I think, is distributed among the 10 companies. And they got the letter of support from me. Do it yourself biotech company was doing a bioreactors. Indi H2O, which I'm going to introduce, work from on the sector of bioengineering from water to value. ChloroHemp works. ChloroHemp is one startup which is working on the hemp-based products. Aminotech, a protein bar, which can provide nutrition to targeted customers. PyHemp, again another hemp company. Shroom Technologies, where mushroom mycelia can be used in packaging and so on. So these are some of the companies which we technically mentor. I mentored during the course of my engagement with IIT Mandi Catalyst. Not only that, we also support in several events and share our views in relation to the startup ecosystem. And trust me, it's really a pleasant experience. And Manvin was with us for at least, I think, 2 to 3 years. And then gradually we can see the Catalyst, IIT Mandi Catalyst, making a mark itself in the national scenario, because number one, quality mentors as well as the facilities what attracts most of the good startups to come and eventually incubate in the startup ecosystem. So faculty definitely have a very important role. So this is only my experience with these agri and biotech startups, but there are several other faculty. At least 40 to 50 of my colleagues are involved on day-to-day basis, linking with some of these startups. I think that's what is to be leveraged. Okay, so now innovation. If I were to really speak about that, as I already mentioned, it starts from identifying a problem. So in my case, let me just share the first case study. That is on the Indi H2O Bioengineering Private Limited, where two directors, Jyotika Thakur and Hemant Thakur, they are from IIT Mandi scholars. Both of them are PhD scholars. They are doing their PhDs. At the same time, they incubated this company because they were part of this particular project with me and Dr. Atul. So these are from MTech Biotech and MTech Energy Tech and Management. You can see one is from biotechnology, another from the engineering background. So now they both joined hands along with the mentoring team, myself and Dr. Atul, again, biotechnology, and another from the engineering background. So now we have been mentoring them. And the first innovation, as I told, it starts from the problem. We ask them, what is the problem you wanted to really address? They wanted to look into one of the biggest problems here is in relation to the wastewater, generating value out of it. And can you reuse the water? You know, the wastewater reuse from the STPs. So they came out with a technology called as ISTP, and which is a promising one, and already a patent application has been made. I'll show you how it works. It's a modular unit because most of the villages here are very sparsely populated. They are in pockets of 10 houses here and there. So a small modular unit can work. And pumping out a lot of water up and down, coming down is not a problem, but pumping up requires a lot of energy. So definitely, if any water can be conserved on the top, can be reused and generate some value, I think it has got a major role to play for the water security as well. And at the end product, they get high pain fertilizer and other reusables. So first, both the scholars, along with several other mentors who are part of this imprint funded project, came out with a prototype which can really work as a small modular unit. So how is it different from any other existing technology is it has got a new anaerobic digester. This is a prototype, so I'll just go to the technology here. If you look at that, they take the raw wastewater, which is about 100%, and add a bioflocculant. That is a flocculation technology, which will result in clear supernatant and some end products. I mean, some supernatant and pellets. So in the down, whatever is there, that can go for the fermentation. The fermentation will yield some sort of gases, okay, whereas methane and hydrogen, as analyzed from using a mass spec here, gas chromatogram here, and then the clear supernatant can go for secondary or tertiary treatment. Once the treatment is over, that water can be either recovered or tested for the discharge limits as per the pollution control board and released out. So this is the technology which was established. Now you can see a lot of engineering components. Anaerobic digester, it speaks about microbial fermentation. So biotechnology is involved, and then you end up with something like this, which can be scaled up. In the previous one, you can see the scaled up version of the same. Now, the scholars, they also came out, they learned about, because having the technology alone will not help them. They wanted to really benchmark their technology with the existing process. Yeah, and then eventually they patented their application, and they could get that how it is really in the competitive landscape where ISTP stands. So these are some of the benchmarks which will help them when they make an application for funding support from various incubation centers. So I'm not going to get into the market and others. I'll leave it for the discussion if you are interested. And of course, there is a lot of value for the customers. And this is another important thing. If anybody is working on startup, innovating with a small product, they should have a timeline and execution plan. So here as well, they came out with an execution in year 1 and year 2. Again, that was further broken down. I've seen earlier, they shared the data, their plans for every 3 months, how they are going to really execute. So over time, I'm going to mentor them, as well as would like to see how this particular company would go ahead. Now, if you look into their complete journey so far, they got the idea from a project, student-run project, student and faculty run project as an imprint one. Then they came out with a patent application. They registered their company. They got into IIT Mandi Catalyst, also got support from Nidhi Prayas. Now they made a big BIRAC support, which they applied. So this is a journey so far of a small small startup. But now the biggest question in the Indian context, many of you might be working with some small tools or innovating something. So there is something called as TRL, technology readiness level. So we as scholars, this is something which has come new to me. When I joined, I don't know what TRL was, but later on I understood that there are different TRL levels as defined by NASA. Like say, depending on whether you have a proof of concept, if you demonstrate it, it is called as a level 3. So once you go to level 9 or something, that means you are ready to completely launch your product into the market, or maybe it is doing very well. So this technology, TRLs, we have to learn. And even BIRAC, which is one of the major funding bodies, which is solving problems in these domains like healthcare, agriculture, industrial biotechnology, bioinformatics, and software, they also ask for which TRL level is your product at the moment. So you can see this particular knowledge, once we enter, we try to learn because this comes automatically in the process. Fine. I think that gave you a good idea about the first case study. Like a student-run innovative idea can result into a startup, and the startup support ecosystem does exist. There are faculty who can mentor, people who can collaborate and form a team, and then register a company. And registration process nowadays. Yeah, anyone want to ask any questions? Again, I heard some voice. Okay, I think I can move ahead. Manvin, I can move ahead, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so coming to the second one, smart agriculture for future India, innovate. Can I get a Manvin? I request here. Can I get an idea about how many scholars are from Jalgaon itself in your institute? I know that 1600 scholars, as mentioned by Professor Bhushan, are studying there. How many are from Jalgaon itself, district?
Sure, sir. Maybe, sir, I asked Bhushan sir to give answer of
it
this.
It could be around 400 or so from Jalgaon itself.
Okay, so these scholars, these who are from localite, they might have been, if they talk to their parents or they themselves might have seen that this area, a lot of agriculture activities would be going on. I'll come back to that question again, but before that, I wanted to put a number onto the slide and ask all the viewers to think for a minute what this number could be. Don't say COVID cases, but you can think of any other number. What could this be? Anyone want to give a guess? You can put your in the comment section. It's 7.9 billion. What is that? Okay, so if you already guessed correct, you can congratulate yourself. It is the population, world population currently. And if you look at the Indian population, you can see on the slide as well, we are also no less. And the prediction is that over we keep on increasing until 2060. Okay, and then there will be slight declines, slight only. Still, we will be above what we are today. You know, so that means these many people are there. So these many people want to eat, which we call it as the food, right? Basic ingredient. And second, these many have to need clothing. Okay. So roti ho gaya, clothing, kapda ho gaya, and these many has to leave makan. So these three basic requirements, which is a fundamental right probably for many of us, has to be provided. That means a lot of innovation is still need to be done in order to facilitate, in order to feed these hungry people, including myself, yourself. So where does this come from? Just think for a while. Okay, and this is how it is going. One birth every 1 second, one death every 3 seconds. So every 3 seconds, we are actually adding at least 2 new lives. So now coming to the big question. So you can see the city where you are based. It is called as Jalgaon. It is called as the banana city of India. And if you're looking at the main economy, it is dependent major industries, I can say: gold, pulse, PVC, cotton, PP mats, edible oil. Just I accessed the Wikipedia today morning to understand what is happening in and around. And to my surprise, let me put it as a pleasant surprise, that it is the banana city of India. And if I really were to look at it carefully, it can be called as number 7th in the world. Just that small area, one district, can be based on the production. It can be 7th in the world after 6 countries. So that means it is producing so much of bananas. In fact, I think 3/4 of all the bananas of your state are being produced at this particular village. So how is that possible? So 3,600 hectares is being cultivated, but there is a problem. The current variety which people have been using is called as a Cavendish group developed Grand 9. And that banana variety is vulnerable to climate changes. You might be seeing already less water in there. Talk to your parents, all the 400 scholars. You understand that there is a lot of problems. Earlier, there was sufficient water. Now water is a problem, and so on. And not only that, the crop gets damaged. So 30 crore per year. Just 30 crore is a huge number, right? So even if your startup can solve 1 crore, it can save. It's a huge money. Just think on that. So how are you going to do that? Is there any problem which you can solve? Go and talk to the farmers. That is the only way to know the problems. Then you can solve, then the innovation happens. So one variety which the Banana Research Center in Jalgaon itself has come out is called as Fulle Pride. I don't know if I'm spelling it correct. It's a new variety which is resistant to lodging, some high velocity winds, as well as it is also some leaf spot disease. It can be solved all that. I mean, it can withstand all that. So there is a scope because this variety is only recently introduced and the news is February 2021, so you can really engage here. Now as a company, if you wanted to innovate, you would think, will I make enough money? Where can I sustain? Can I pay the wages? Can I pay the salaries to my staff? Can I survive myself? Can I, rather than going for a job 9 to 5, can I take the risk? Yes, you can take the risk because bananas, fresh or dried bananas, you say, look into the percentage share in global fruit export, it is almost 10%, highest than any other fruit. Okay, even higher than the fresh apples. Now, in India itself, the total banana production is also very high. I'm not going to get into the specific details, but you should trust that India is one of the largest producers of banana. We are #1 in it. Okay, so you look into the major producing state. Of course, Maharashtra is there as well. You can see 4.2 million metric ton. Andhra, Uttar Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, they all come. And then India definitely exports because we are the #1. Obviously, we export and we do have a lot of potential here. So am I saying or motivating that you should start a startup in this? Not really. But what I'm telling is, if you talk, your problem should be addressing a problem. The more the local problem, the better, because the same problems are being faced elsewhere, maybe with new other crops and so on. If you build a platform for solving banana, the same platform can also solve other crops. So that is the idea here. So if you look into the valuation, it's at least 7 billion Indian rupees as it is valued at the moment. It's just an example which I wanted to motivate some of the scholars there. Now, what are the problems then? If you look into the problem, why in some seasons the farmers face immense problem because of the diseases. These bananas, they get infected due to fungal pathogens like this. You can see Panama wilt or Sigatoka disease, the bacterial wilt. I thank my PhD scholar who made this slide today morning itself. And again, you see Xanthomonas wilting disease. So if you are a life scientist, so you should come out with a team, and the team should have probably a biologist or a plant scientist to understand this. #1. #2, anthracnose is one more problem post-harvest. So that will also influence the quality of the banana. Now, if you wanted to innovate further, you can think of building sensing devices. Yeah, so these are some of the problems which the farmers must be facing. But still, if you look at the scope until 2024, Indian banana is expected to outnumber even Latin America. Yeah. Dr. Kapil, please. Yeah. Now, how do we then engage? What is the future of smart agriculture? So given that I gave a problem, I asked you, can you innovate? Now you think broadly, if I innovate in one crop, can I really solve a problem in other crops? Can I contribute in the food security? This is a small problem if you were to really take up. So in the past, people started using, say, the ploughing, okay, GMO crops a bit, machinery and GPS tracking until 2008. But then this is the present day. You go and talk to a farmer, he's very confused because a lot of data is coming, but it is not very well structured. If you are a computational scholar, you can make the data come in a more structured manner. You can work on IoTs to get field level data. You can work on probably machine learning to understand one crop in a more detailed manner so that you can predict the behavior of the crop. You can build algorithms which can be linked with weather data in order to prediction whether rain will happen, you needed to water or don't need to water. So one major thing which contributed in Jalgaon to stay ahead in spite of less water is the drip irrigation technology today. Earlier that wasn't there. One bore pump they used to use and then water the whole banana field. But right now, many farmers started adopting drip irrigation. So there is an innovation there in terms of, can you automate that? Can the farmer have the complete control in his pocket? Even if he goes on a holiday, he should be able to really see whether his plants are getting enough water. So innovation has got the wings right now. The technology is available, only that we have to learn and then we have to try to solve a problem. And here is the future. The future will be something like this, where you may have several sensors from where the data would be coming. There would be a precision agricultural service. Already this is happening in several advanced nations, especially in agriculture like Israel, as well as in United States. And then these precision agricultural services gives very precise information to these farmers. And these farmers accordingly, they understand, oh, there is going to be a disease outbreak, let me spray it. Oh, there is no disease, let me not spray it. It's just a random disease. I can pluck out few leaves. Oh, I know this variety of the seeds are much better, okay, rather than the other one, because it is more resistant, more yielding, less nutrients are required, something like that. So in that context, is it really doable? If you ask the question, here you're seeing a very large a photograph with several scientists here and scholars as well. And you can see I'm here right at the left, and you can see the principal scientific advisor to the Prime Minister's office, Professor Vijay Raghavan. And the course in this particular, when it started, we had Professor Timothy Gonzalez, who is our founding director of IIT Mandi. And then Dr. Srikanth Srinivasan and myself, and along with few other faculty who co-led this particular project. And I'll show you, it is possible to build a smart agriculture platform for Indian farms. And you all have a role to play. So this is the idea. You have raw data, you can collect the raw data, it goes into a data management as utility. And from there, what the farmer needs information related to soil, weather, seed, disease, harvest, storage, market. That information can be provided as an advisory. And then farmer gets benefited. He comes back, data triangulation happens because you have to clean up some of the data. And then eventually that input can be put here. That further strengthens the algorithms, and with the farmer, even with the weather change, they should get a lot of information. It is doable if you have a very good commitment as well as a team, else you can really contribute in this particular area, irrespective of whatever your background is. So if you look into this about Farmergen, it is funded by DBT. We wanted to come out with a cloud service with 20 plus major crops. Potato was the first sentinel, but trust me, because you are located in Jalgaon, which is the banana capital, banana city, if anyone can innovate on the banana, a lot of funding is going to come. If 5 scholars from your institutes can join hands and come out with a smart agriculture platform for banana, then nobody, I mean, I'm telling you, you are going to really contribute immensely to the farmer benefit in that particular region, because you wanted to ensure that Jalgaon is going to stay #1 as the banana city of India. Okay, so it's possible to do that. Now, as an example, here we started with potato because India is #2, and we met various farmers. Next 5 minutes, I will just keep on to just give you a feel that it is possible to innovate in this space. say we meet with farmers to understand their problems. Some mentioned that we need better quality seeds. Our soil, we don't know whether to put in more NPK or less. We don't know. They wanted farm advisories, cold storage market, because if a farmer goes and spends in buying more urea, but already if nitrogen is there in the soil, they don't need to. So money saving is also money earned. So those are information. Last mile delivery, because here is the way how the social scientists can play a significant role by creating survey forms, proper survey, because that eventually helps in the policy and the innovation in relation to the technology. They are interlinked with the social. So definitely everybody, all the sectors have a role to play here. My experience in the last mile delivery, I felt like this is one of the toughest one, because inside the lab, writing a code is much easier, but going and engaging with the farmers at the last mile, training them over the app, and then making them really work out is one of the toughest jobs. So what we did is we touched upon UP, Punjab, and Himachal Pradesh, and eventually we came out with an app. You can see here. This is a potato. It can go for the weather prediction. It can give advisories. Is it the right time to plant? Whether there is any disease outbreak, we can advise them accordingly. They can take a decision to spray, and then if at all they themselves see a disease and they wanted to know what it is, they can see it in their app itself. But training is needed. That's what we realized. And in terms of soil advisory, we figured out India has a soil map. Okay, we have soil maps of various districts in India. So now we took that, and then we also measured. We took the soil from various farmers and we measured, and we see that they both are not in very in sync, because localized, each farmer soils are very different. We are seeing that some has got very low amount of nitrogen. Okay, but some has got very high amount of, medium amount of nitrogen. So we can actually advise these farmers from Himachal to how much they have to put in their particular field, so that they can enhance the yield. So just 1% enhancement of the yield in a particular state context is several thousand kilograms. Okay, so like that NPK, we can innovate and study. Anyway, what we found is that the soil health monitoring is really important. And recently, I think only 2 weeks ago, IIT Kanpur has innovated on the soil analytics. So they came out with a near infrared based sensor, which will give us the NPK status of soil. So that now some company is taking over that particular technology. So even if you don't want it to start up, not a problem. You solve a problem, there are companies who will come and take that technology, as long as it is scientifically correct and it is solving a major problem. So that is the most important aspect, what I believe is. Now, we almost did 1,000 soil samples analytics, and then we understood that, in fact, we needed to come out with some better way for very quick analysis. And not only that, we had to provide the advisory to the farmers. We used to give via hard copy, online, and so on, and also via the app. Eventually, we came out with an optimized method at IIT Mandi for only phosphate assay. My PhD scholar, she can analyze almost 30 soil samples at a time with a microplate reader. And we also tried some STFR soil testing kits. This is a continuous process where the new technology comes, we try to adopt. Even the banana farmers could gain if you can really come out and establish yourself as one of the soil analytics. If you have a small office, you open and you say, we are going to do soil analytics of all the banana farmers. They are going to come and pay and use the service. That is a startup, okay? So now, what about the Farmer Zone Pan-India expansion plans? So we achieved what in the 3 states initially, and then we expanded to 5 states. After the 5 states, now this is in the planning stage. If we go ahead with the phase 2, maybe in a couple of years' time, we could get an opportunity to innovate in the potato sector and go ahead with this particular expansion, various CPRI and agri universities. And finally, the future goal is that the farmer zone should be adaptable across India in major domains. But what I'm seeing of recent is that there are several companies who are into this area as well. They started looking at one company recently working on onion, another company working on grapes. So they wanted to come out with a farmer zone like app. advisory service provider, you know, so banana for you. So this is the ecosystem generally. So I think what I'll do now is just show you some field level work which we do. So engage with farmers. You can see that this is one of the pilot study for a satellite imagery based analytics which we are trying to do. And then here is Miss Portia, my PhD scholar, who is engaging with farmers. Here we are training them on the app. Some of the farmers, we visited Lahore, borrowed some of the areas where potato seeds are produced, mainly seed varieties. So you can see some of the glimpses from the farmers field. We do farmer interactions. Okay, very regular. You have to engage with people. You should be open to talk to people, industries. We see SV Agri is one of the top industries in potato. They wanted to really work with us. We already did some work with them as well, and then engage with different agriculture units. And one important question is, did you ever think that there are at least 60 to 70 varieties of potatoes, and on your plate you have one of the varieties, and here is like Kufri, Bahar, Fukraj, or Jyoti. Predominantly these are the ones which are seen on our plates, but there are chip varieties, there are others. But then in your case you can do the same with banana, right? So some field level experiments, I would like to see that we do this in order to test. You see some of the IoT based sensing devices. Mainly I acknowledge Dr. Srikant Srinivasan here for that work, and my scholar has been measuring some of the potato yield. Yeah, so now coming to the banana, is it that, are there any companies already in this sector who are doing? Yes, but to very less, it's just at the inception stage probably. There is a company called as Greencraft in Bengaluru based, where they are building some using the banana mark. They are making baskets, lamps, and other eco-friendly products. Okay, and they sell it in abroad as well. Go Banana, I think there is another, this like more about gluten-free. They wanted to come out with those kind of processing. Okay, and there is like banana flour pickle. You can see it's promoted by, I think, Tamil Nadu Agriculture University. There is again National Research Center for Banana, Tiruchirappalli. They came out with banana flour soup mix. Baby food, I think this I've seen long back when I was in UK itself. Banana baby food was available there. I think there is a lot of potential in that area. So that was my last slide when I touched upon the banana. I thought that it is better to connect something more local, which is very attached to the place where most of you are. So that is the reason why I've taken banana as an example. But I hope I convinced most of you that innovation or startups actually start from solving a problem. And there are three important components. Definitely your team is important. The right time to really start up is also important, and commitment. You have to stay there. There are several challenges, roadblocks in the process, but you can eventually overcome all of that. With that, I would like to thank, and will be open to discuss or share my experiences further with one and all. Thank you very much. And this, I would like to acknowledge both from my research perspective as well as I think IIT Mandi, I should first of all acknowledge, and all my funding bodies, and also my team at IIT Mandi. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Shyam, for such a wonderful.
Yeah, on the slide, you can see one national innovation and startup policy for students and faculty that is available at the MHRD site, and also Startup India Kit. If anyone is really interested, especially at the level of policy making, definitely they should go through these documents, because they give a very clear-cut idea about how to engage faculties, how to motivate the scholars and support them, because startup ecosystem is such that the chances of failures are much higher than the chances of success. But every failure teaches us something so that we can really innovate and succeed eventually. So that is the takeaway here. With every failure, we are going to learn. So take the risk. That is fine. Have some backup plans as well. That is also fine. And eventually, if you are solving a problem, definitely it's a way forward. That's what is my take. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Shyam, for this wonderful session. I now request participants, if you have any questions, so one by one you can ask. You can also drop your questions in the chat box. Any questions from any of the participants? Bhushan sir, you are on mute. Bhushan sir, you're still on mute. We can't hear you.
Yeah. Now.
Yes, sir. Now
I suppose that there will be certainly there will be certain more questions in the minds of the people, and eventually they will ask the questions right now, or also they can approach later also. But
Yes.
at this moment, I would like to offer some of the comments, Dr. Shyam, that ours is the university in Maharashtra who has first brought up our entrepreneurship policy.
Very good.
So in the tune of this National Innovation and Startup Policy, we have prepared our own policy, and this policy has permitted even our teachers, not only the students, but also the teachers to start their own company. And as a result of that, we have one of our faculty, Dr. Swapnil Sonawne. He's also one of the participants here in this session now. He started his own company now. And along with his student, basically MSc project, he started this work and it landed up into one startup. So this is what I wanted to bring it to your notice. Then another thing, perhaps this is also valuable information for those teachers who are joining this session now. So this policy will be soon available on the website. In the last meeting, Academic Council, it has already been passed.
Very nice.
About Dr. Shyam, what he talked about the variety of the banana. Certainly this point you have raised, that is very important point, because once upon a time, there was Basrai variety which was in use in banana, especially for banana cultivation across this Khandesh region. However, the private companies came up with newer varieties which could give the product in shorter duration. So Grand Name, it can give it up to 10 months or so, it can deliver the fruits. However, the original varieties, it takes really long time, maybe 15, 16 months or so. So that is one of the lucrative option available for the farmers, and they are running after that. And the second thing, the banana tissue culture is being used nowadays across India. So many people are crazy after this banana tissue culture crops. And even though the crop, I mean to say the seed is very expensive, maybe 12 rupees per plantlet or something like that. And that makes it very expensive. And that tissue culture plants which are available are of only Grand Name. So no other varieties are available on the commercial scale. That is one of the point that people are not getting the plantlets to grow the another varieties.
Exactly, exactly, Professor Bhushan. That is the point I wanted to really make. So that means there is a gap and there is an opportunity. Farmers want it, but we can't provide. So that means you can solve that problem. That is where a committed efforts from a group of scholars who wanted to build a tissue culture lab of their own, train themselves up, reach out to various training centers, work with some scientists, some faculty within the same institute, have faculty mentors so that they don't fail. I mean, they can fail. At the same time, they can learn from each other, that infections, for example, in the tissue culture, the browning is one of the issues. Minute change in the protocol, they may get a lot of dividends, maybe the number of plantlets, better quality ones, the hardenings. I think this is amazing because you are located in such a gold mine and you don't want it to lose that, So,
Dr. Shyam, there is one question from the participant. How can we use potato peels as skin toner as a startup purpose? So your thoughts on it?
Okay, Siddharth, I think this is the sole purpose of this kind of talks and interactions, where you started to think in a different way. Potato, I always thought as a chips, or as a chips, or just as a vegetable. What you are saying is as a health alternative. You are speaking. In that case, what we have to do is really try to find out the biochemistry of these potato, what the pills which you are saying, what should be in there, whether the potato starch which you wanted to put it, and whether that potato starch takes a lot of time to digest. That means longer time in your body, so hunger will be there. I mean, you will not feel hungry immediately. If it satiates, then obviously you will intake less. So indirectly, it may have an influence on the obesity or as a pill, as well as when you say skin toning. Is it like glow and others? Then I don't know what kind of phytochemicals help in skin toning. But remember, here it's a good idea. No idea is bad. What you asked is a very important question. Now we have to go and find in the market what are the skin toners available. What is the source? Can potato disrupt it? Can you bring that innovation? That is a question which you wanted to ask, because potato is available in large quantities, so you can really do it. You give 12 rupees in the season, you get 8 rupees per kilo. Or maybe there is a variety which has got red. There are red color, browny, different colors of potato. Maybe that skin has that extra phytochemicals. It's a good question, actually. So yeah, you can think of that and pitch in, but do your background work on that. Okay.
Dr.
And
Shyam,
there is
one more question, Dr. Shyam, if you can read that. Is it visible to you?
Yes, sir. Sachin Patil is asking, there is any platform institute which work and innovate on bamboo products? Yes, I think bamboo, there are several startups currently which are coming, including bamboo brush or bamboo wood is used for various purposes. Definitely there would be institutes who might be working on the bamboo products. Sachin, what you can do is, I think one of my scholars is also attending today's talk. We may get back to you. If you can send an email or something, I'll connect up and provide you more information on that. Okay, and yeah, Professor Bhushan, I can see that. Oh, you also have a project on wastewater treatment. Which contains.
Sorry, sir. This is one of my MSc student, Bhushan Chaudhary. We do have Bhushan Chaudhary. So
oh, sorry.
This is common. Yeah, please, if you can guide him.
Okay. If we have a particular project on wastewater treatment which contains such components that are essential for crop growth and others can use as biofuel, so can we do this on a large? Yes, absolutely. Very important question, and it is possible to use them as biofertilizer. You have to just prove that in fact they enhance the crop growth. So take some pots, maybe about 20-20. With and without the fertilizers, and then different concentrations of fertilizers. You take the same soil mix, take 5% of the biofertilizer, after the wastewater treatment, and then you add, okay, after the wastewater treatment, whatever sludge you get, you allow it to decompose for some days in the soil, make a formula of that, mix it in different concentrations into different pots, and then test to see the same crop has to be used from the same seed variety, and grow outside your home and see what is happening. Take photographs and then show that in fact the yield is better or not. If required, you can do further tests on the food quality of that. It's possible to do that, Bhushan.
Thank you, Dr. Shyam. Any other question from any of the participants? Okay, so I think, Dr. Shyam, maybe if we have more questions, then we will definitely going to mail you those questions. And now, before we stop here, I request Nikhil, the incubation manager of KCIL, to kindly deliver the vote of thanks.
Okay, Manvit, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Manvit. So, Professor Shyam, it's good to have this session from you, and we have seen so much of efforts taken by you for delivering your speech, that you have thoroughly studied our region, and you really encouraged us with the case study of the potato, which you have taken, and the sort of glimpses you put towards the startups related to banana. Glad to inform you that as this incubation center post-pandemic, it has been started, and now we have started collaborating with the organizations like KVK, Krishi Vigyan Kendra, then the agricultural universities, and the different kinds of sort of scientists which are working towards this region or this particular sector. And we have seen that banana is not only used for the food processing, but there are plenty of the allied startups from the banana leaves as well as the banana stem. So we'll definitely take your inputs to move forward for that. And Manveen will agree with this, where sooner we're going to have the further deliberations with you related to the agri-based ecosystem development. So with this, I'm thankful to you for delivering this session, and thanks to the IIT Mandi and IIT Mandi Catalyst as well, to have such fantastic professors as their mentors. Thanks to the Professor Bhushan, the IFC coordinator, and Dr. Nilesh Patil, who handles the IFC activities over in the institute. And so as the KC Incubation Center and the IFC, they started collaborating to conduct such kind of events, and we'll make sure that in future events also we are going to have such kind of fruitful sessions from our end. Thanks to the Manveen sir, so that because of him we got introduced to you. Thank you, Manveen sir, and thank you all faculties and participants who have attended this event, and I hope you got some fruitful insights from this. And there are very few talks in which the student asked the questions. Apart from only saying that thank you, sir, but they started asking you the questions, particular questions. So that was really fantastic. So if it is okay for everyone, can I ask everyone to start their cameras so that I can take the snap? Thank you. And I'm very glad to see that these few senior professors have also attended the event. Thanks to them as well. So with the permission of Bhushan sir and Manveen sir,
yeah, sure.
We can take a pause here. We'll not stop the session.
Yeah, thank you very much. It is a great pleasure, and all the very best to KCIIL. One institute can definitely make a difference. Okay, definitely it can make a difference. So go ahead with that. And I see that you have very exciting scholars sitting around. So you should be able to make a difference. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Shyam.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.